And then Senator King.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Ditlevson, I want to talk about some reports we had this week coming out of the Pentagon about the use of artificial intelligence. You know, we all know, or many of us know, we're in a classified race against the Chinese on artificial intelligence. Reports came out this week that Secretary Hegseth was negotiating a contract with an AI company, and this AI company says, look, we just have two conditions. We're not going to allow our AI to be used to develop weapons that can kill without a human being in the kill chain. And then number two, we're not going to allow our AI to be used for mass surveillance of American citizens. And that Secretary Hegseth got very upset about those two conditions, that he refused those conditions. And now I think this is, you know, if we were a healthier country politically right now, we would be putting up left and right limits around the use of AI. We have really no guidelines for you all, really no law. That's not your fault. That's on us on a bipartisan basis that we haven't done it. And I would argue we should be doing some of that for you all in this committee, setting up those left and right limits. Because I think the average person does not think we should allow weapon systems to get into war and kill people without a human being overseeing that in some way. And I certainly don't think any American Democrat or Republican wants mass surveillance on the American people. So I guess my plea is for us as a committee to deal with this in the NDAA. But because you're up for the job on Homeland issues, I have to ask about this mass surveillance. Why wouldn't Secretary Hegseth say, no problem, we're never going to use AI at the Pentagon to conduct mass surveillance of American citizens? You've been the number two over there. You're now gunning for the number one job, up for confirmation. To your knowledge, is the Assistant Secretary role of Homeland Security, do you have any programs currently going on involved in the mass surveillance of American citizens?
Senator, I can't speak to the specifics of that meeting with Secretary.
No, of course not. I'm not asking that. Just for you. You've been in the number two job. You're in the seat. Don't deflect. To your knowledge, the purview of the position you're trying to get, is there any mass surveillance programs of the American people going on right now in that assistant secretaryship?
To my knowledge, Senator, not within that assistant secretaryship. We focus on policy
That's
writing.
Fine. I want the answer to be no. I'm gunning for a no. I want you to say no. Are you aware, and can you confirm that it is illegal under U.S. law for the Department of Defense, particularly intelligence community assets, to surveil or target American citizens for their views?
Senator, I'm not intimately familiar with the exact language in different statutes. I would always defer to the Office of General Counsel to make sure any policy advice that we provide is lawful.
Okay, it is the law, right? Executive orders, the National Security Act of 1947, and then everything that came out of Watergate. American citizens don't want to be surveilled by their government. You do criminal activity, go for it. You should be brought down. But mass surveillance, targeted surveillance of domestic terrorist organizations is a very sensitive subject that you're going to be in the hot seat for. So I would offer that instead of just deferring, you should get to know the law really quickly, because you're going to be asked at some point whether the actions of this government are okay by you. And when it comes to targeting American citizens, using assets of the intelligence community, using AI to surveil American citizens, I want you to answer no, that you will uphold the values that I hope we all share, which is that the U.S. government should never target its own citizens. Department of Defense especially should be focused on foreign threats and the things that are coming at us from abroad. Yours should be focused on cyber threats, things that are important to protecting American citizens, not surveilling our own people. And I will just say, along the same lines of what you will be asked, you know, Senator Sheehy was in Iraq. I was in Iraq too. Do you know of any credible threats of violence against U.S. polling locations that would ever require the National Guard to be deployed? Any actual credible threats, yes or no?
Senator, in this particular forum, I can't speak about any threats that may or may not exist and need to maintain operational security.
I think the idea that the President of the United States is saying that we should deploy National Guard and potentially others around polling locations when there is no credible threats. You should bring them up here if there are credible threats. We all have clearances, but the idea that we could be deploying law enforcement and National Guard around a polling location without a credible threat should send a shiver down your spine. And you are going to be in the hot seat to say, no, I'm sorry. That just fundamentally cuts against who we are as Americans, and I hope you are willing to uphold your oath when it comes down to it. Yield back.
Mr. Ditley.